Dear students of 5A, today's GK class is for the previous lesson. The remaining part of the previous lesson I am going to teach you. In my previous class I started a new lesson, Green Earth. Today few points were left, now I am going to complete it. Green Earth. Now here some points I have written in the board. Number 1, cleanness. Second, greenness. Third, awareness. Fourth, sensitiveness. Now, cleanness. What is cleanness? You know, each and every person of our society, each and every person of this country has sincerity towards the nature, towards towards the environment, so that each and every person can shoulder its responsibility to save environment, to save greenery. That's why each and every person has to shoulder some responsibilities for it. Now, what are the responsibilities we have to shoulder? Dispose garbage safely. Whenever we shall clean our environment, we have to keep some things in our mind. Number 1, dispose garbage safely. Wherever we see so many garbages are there, unclean things are there, usable items are there, scattered here and there, but there is no dustbin to be used. People are not using dustbin, but throwing it outside the dustbins. It looks very odd. In that case, each and every environment lover has to shoulder the responsibility to clean the environment or to clean the garbage safely. How? By picking it up and throwing it into the dustbins. So, recycle garbage separately. And recycle these things, find new uses for old things. Sometimes some usable items are thrown out, but these are useful to make new things also. That's why garbage should be utilized properly for our own benefits. Recycle the things, find new uses for old things. And don't throw your waste here and there. Wherever we are going to throw waste materials, waste particles, we should not throw it here and there. Why? Because of maintaining, protecting environment, nature, in order to avoid environmental pollution, in order to avoid, noise, air pollution. We have to use dustbins properly. We have to throw the usable items into the dustbins, waste particles into the dustbins properly, so that the environment must be neat and clean. The environment must become free of pollution. Because dustbins are used by the the municipal workers in the morning. They usually come with their cars, with their tempos, in order to collect the usable items, the garbages from the dustbins. They take it out and they carry dustbins with them, and by this way the municipal workers protect environment in order to give us free oxygen, in order to make our environment free of pollution. But as a citizen, it is our first and foremost duty to protect environment. How? By making the environment free of pollution. How? By throwing garbages into only the dustbins, but not here and there. Next point, green Next point, greenness. Greenery is a most important part of our life. Making greenery. That means planting of trees and maintaining it, protecting it by watering, by maintaining, by looking after the trees, plants from the beginning, so that we must have greenery, because greenery is very important for our life, for a healthy life, for a life free of all kinds of diseases. That's why, my dear students, greenery, making greenery is depending on us as to how we shall make it. But thing is, making some programs by which we can make our environment, we can make our environment green and can produce greenery. But in that case, we should not throw waste here and there. We shall maintain environment. We shall avoid environmental pollution. So we should not litter the parks and road, and we should not spit on the road. Each and every person has to be, careful of his or her health, so that they must care of others' health. So we should not spit on the road. We should not unclean. We should not unclean the roads. We should help others in the process of cleaning the roads, so that we can utilize properly and we can enjoy with others and safely. Now, next point, awareness. Awareness is a very important part of our life, awareness in our habits. And this kind of good qualities can be formed when someone will be taught by others. Suppose a person having no education will not have any awareness, sense of responsibility towards environment, towards nature. Now they do not have any idea as to how they will contribute to it through positive ways. In that case, they must be taught good lessons by the teachers, by the by the environment lover. Those who love environment, nature lover has to come forward for their health, so that they must have proper training and must keep the environment free of pollution. In that case, they will have to teach them the sense of responsibility, the sense of awareness, so that they must become aware of the nature. Now, plants more and more trees in our surroundings. In that case, we have to plant more and more trees in our surroundings. We have to spread awareness by how? By awareness for saving our plant, for saving our animals. So save our plants, save our animals, save our plants, save our animals in order to make our environment free of pollution. Use eco-friendly things, for example, jute and paper bags. Jute and paper bags. Use eco-friendly things, for example, jute and paper bags. These are very important things. We have to keep in our mind that jute, paper bags, these all are our eco-friends. It does not pollute environment. Jute and paper bags, these are not pollute environment. So these are called eco-friendly things. So we have to use this type of eco-friendly things in order to avoid air pollution, in order to avoid soil pollution. That's why this kind of things we should use. Now, safe fuels, use public transport, safe fuels, sensibility, sensitiveness. What sensitiveness? Using, eco-friendly things. Using eco-friendly things. we have to be careful. We have sensitiveness for using eco-friendly things like jute bags, like paper bags, etc. It can, because these are recycled. So that's why these things should be utilized properly and effectively. And now, save fuels. Use public transport. In order to save our fuels, we should use public transport, so that fuels must be saved. And it is our first and foremost duty to save our fuels, because in near future it may not be available, and that's why, in order to avoid unavailability of fuels, we should use it safely. And in that case, what is our first and foremost duty? To use public transport. To use public transport. The public transport system is introduced by the government and so many private sectors. The owners of public transport system, they usually come forward for our help. In that case, we should take their help, and we should use public transport, so that we can save fuel and we can save our environment free of pollution. In order to avoid air pollution, we should use public transport. In order to avoid air pollution, we should not establish factories and industries in the cities or in the areas where human beings live, but we should use it. We should set up it outside the township, so that we must not have any air pollution, and environment must become free of pollution. In order to avoid water pollution, the factories and industries, from where the usable waters are disposed of, it should not be mixed up with the clean water. The water which is used by the human beings, they should not dispose. The water should not be disposed of from the factories and industries for the cleaned water, like river. In some factories, the factories are set up beside the river. Their usable water are disposed of regularly from their factories and industries and mixed up with the river water, just like Ganga. Ganga, besides Ganga, there are so many factories and industries. In that case, the water which is disposed of from the factories and industries, these are mixed up. This water is mixed up with the Ganges water and pollutes Ganga. This pollution is known as water pollution. So in order to avoid water pollution, we should not pollute environment, we should not pollute water, we should not pollute the nature by setting up factories and industries beside river, or factories and industries within the cities where people usually live. That's why it is our first and foremost duty, and the duty of the government, to allow them to build up any factory and industry, to allow them to construct factories and industries outside the cities, and not within the cities. And at the same time, they must be careful. The government should take immediate action, so that the usable waters of the factories and industries must not be disposed of from there, and must not mix with the river waters, and must not pollute the river water. So in order to avoid water pollution, in order to avoid air pollution, in order to avoid noise pollution, we should take this kind of immediate precautionary measures. I have not discussed about noise pollution. Noise pollution also is very important factor for the persons who are basically unwell and have been suffering from various diseases. these noise pollutions which are caused by human beings, it must be stopped so that they must live happily and peacefully. Noise pollution, for example, factories and industries. As I mentioned earlier, factories and industries should be set up outside the cities, but not within the cities, in order to avoid noise pollution. Because the noise which is produced from factories and industries, it affects affects the patients. It affects the people suffering from various diseases. That's why noise pollution also is polluting the environment. Noise pollution, air pollution, water pollution, these are the pollutions generally cause various types of diseases, and people cannot concentrate to their study. Students cannot concentrate to their studies. People cannot concentrate to their works. That's why this kind of pollution should be, I think, immediately checked. But it can be checked only when people who take initiative by way of gaining some qualities from their teachers. That is, qualities like cleanliness, greenness, awareness, and sensitiveness. These are the qualities each and every person should have. But it can be possible only when they would be taught by their teachers. Up to this, my dear students, thank you.